Yes? Well, here I am. Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose. When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools. What can I say to them? What they believe is what the chantry says, and the chantry is infallible, yes. Maybe I am wrong, but it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now. Yes? Well, here I am. What is meant by someone like me? Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed. We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken. I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on. Yes? Well, here I am. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris. Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais. A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered. Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat. The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Olay so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier. Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin, and it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris. I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists? Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Hayeva, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many chastened men, and with their help begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds. Which one? I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in the land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter. The Tevinter chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hysarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure. Yes? Well, here I am. I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in. When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith. In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything? He's still here. I hear him in the wind and the waves. I feel him in the sunlight that warms my skin. I know what the Chantry says about the Maker, and what should I believe? What I feel in my heart, or what others tell me? Thank you. It's nice to find someone who agrees. I know what I know, and no one will ever make that untrue.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fenwick, at your service, once again. I saw your camp and thought to myself, what safer place to rest for the evening than in the camp of a Grey Warden? I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes? Wonderful. Thank the gentleman, won't you, boy?
Thank you, sir.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me. You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road. I suppose since you told me about you being a Grey Warden, it's only fitting for me to be as open. I am originally from Orzammar, the famed dwarven city that lies beneath the stately Frostback Mountains. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose. Our kingdoms once spanned the length of Thados, from majestic Orzammar to Kalsharok to glittering Darmalin far to the west. They say the gold and silver veins ran so thick through the stone of Darmalin that the entire city sparkled. The Darkspawn took it all, of course. One by one, the old Tigers fell, and then all that was left was Orzammar. But we were talking about how I ended up here, weren't we? One day, a noble woman came to my stall. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that. Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost Tigers, They're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure, something worth a little gold. That's exactly how I see it. The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back. Yes, here I am. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you? Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the lost tigers, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming. People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch. That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend. Ah, yes. I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She'd give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be. Sandal here. I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think, and he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll see it again. That's how I've always felt. As long as he's happy, so am I. It's not as if I don't benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. Could probably open his own shop, if he knew how.
Enchantment.
Well, he does seem to enjoy it, at least. I hear the Dwarven King is passed on. Old as he was probably poisoned or assassinated. That's how the dwarves normally go out, isn't it? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Something's going on at the Mage's Tower at Lake Callanhod. Nobody knows exactly what, though, and the Templars aren't saying. Exactly what we need, isn't it? Let's hope the Mages are just cooking up something to deal with the Darkspawn. Somebody should be, after all. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. It's not just Darkspawn in the Horde, you know that? There are people with them. Folks who are sick with the Blight, and their minds are all twisted and mad. I heard tell of a man meeting his own brother on the field, yet when he called out to him, his brother didn't even recognize him and just attacked. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. There's knights from Redcliffe spread all over Ferelden on some kind of mission, but I hear that they're starting to become rare to find. Maybe they all went back to Redcliffe. More likely they got tired of searching for something that can't be found and abandoned their search. I wonder what Earl Eamon is going to do without any knights. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I hear from folks travelling the East Roads that there's werewolves in the Brazilian forest. Actual werewolves. They haven't been around since the days of Dane and his ilk. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I heard a strange rumour the other day. King Cailan was not really Merrick's son, you see. Merrick's real son is hidden in the bowels of Denerim's palace and has been since he was born. I suppose they feed him cakes all day to keep him content. Maybe he's simple. Or a mage. Marik's real son, a mage. Can you imagine?
That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
It's said the North Road Inn serves a shepherd's pie containing actual shepherds. Seems the innkeeper has something against the flocks being brought too near his own fields.
That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have...
Hello.
The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed. He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it.
What do you need? Ask away. Such as they are. About what do you need?
Yes? We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. What's this? 'Tis a rather odd discussion you seem to desire, leaning in so closely. Oh, it's humor you desire. I didn't realize comedy had anything to do with this. How true. Let us do it right, then. Yes? If you must. Yes? We're in camp, so 'tis as good. Discuss away. Yes? If you must. I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend. So I assume. My mother has walked the wilds far longer than I. Who am I to suggest what things she has done and not done in her past? Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know? The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess. There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary. No, 'tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could, but as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one. I'm shocked that you think so, being a mage of the circle as you were. But perhaps you felt a little like a caged bird as well, caught within that dark tower. I thought so. Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. Indeed, you could learn the spells required if I cared to teach you. Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch? Oh, you're simply full of surprises, little man, aren't you? But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us. Yes? So, full of questions, are you? I assume you were actually asking whether Flemeth herself gave birth to me. Truly, I do not know. I once asked Flemeth that very question, and she merely laughed at me. 'Tis not inconceivable that she could capture a chastened man, or perhaps change to a more attractive form to attract him willingly. I find it more difficult to imagine her with child. As a matter of fact, I remember her being younger once. She had black hair, much like my own, long and lustrous. But how could that be if she is centuries old? Has she become wizened only recently? Or are the tales of her legend only that, and nothing more? I do know the tales of Flemeth having many daughters, even though I have never met another. And Flemeth has always treated me as her blood. What an odd thing to say. Why must love enter into the equation? Flemeth taught me everything I needed to learn. How to survive, the meaning of power, the truth of men. If other mothers do not teach these things, then I believe them the lesser. You suppose... Take yourself. You do not honestly desire such things from me, do you? 'Tis better to be free of such clawing. There. I tire of this discussion. Yes? So, full of questions. Possibly, if I had the desire to. I do not.
You're a hard man to find. Where are my manners? The name is Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the coins? Levy the trader? Oh, yes, for years. Considered him a friend, I did. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled. It's a bit of a tale, that is. But I'm the one who brought the Grey Wardens back to Ferelden. Well, I was one of the ones. There were a lot of us. Maker's breath, I'm a bit nervous. Honoured to be here, really. After King Marek freed us from the Orlesians, the Grey Wardens begged the King's permission to come into Ferelden, some sort of internal business. Me and a mess of other Warden sympathisers spoke on behalf of your order. Tan Loghain was very much against letting Orlesian Wardens in the kingdom. But Marek, Andraste, bless him, was a fair-minded monarch and he let them in. So that's why I was there when the Wardens and their leader, Genevieve, presented herself to the king. The first Wardens in Ferelden in over a century. Proudest state of my life, that was. Duncan was a bit of a scamp back then. We were of an age and struck up a friendship. The king himself went with the Wardens on their mysterious business. When he returned, he rescinded King Ardlin's decree, and the Wardens came back to Ferelden for good. People say it's because the Wardens have become terribly unpopular, just soaking up tires and not doing a bleeding thing for the kingdom. I say that's bollocks, as recent events have shown. That he was. Oh, his stomach's all aflutter. You're welcome. My family, well, past a bit checkered, to see. Nobles look at us with disdain. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last Warden Commander of Ferelden back when the Wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Arlen banished the Wardens and he took House Dryden's land and titles. Hard to say. After King Arlen died, there was a civil war, loads worse than this one. And our family was on the run, hunted by enemies, with nary a friend in the world. But Drydens are tough. We rebuilt, became merchants, and we never lost our pride. Our family's only crime was guarding the kingdom against the blight. We're not ashamed of that. Ask for the truth. My family reveres Sophia Dryden. We know she died at the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak. We want evidence to clear her name. It won't restore our land or our titles, but it'll restore our honour. Well, no one's been to Soldier's Peak since Ireland's days. At least none that's come back. I spent years mapping the maze of tunnels to the peak, and I found the way a few years back. So I went to Duncan, I did, and I said that he could reclaim the old base and my family could have its honour. Darkspawn surfaced in southern Ferelden, and Duncan got plenty busy recruiting new Wardens and meeting with good King Caelan. Duncan said he would help after the Battle of Ostagar. Said there might be useful things at the peak, but he never had the chance. I can pick my way through the tunnels at the base of Soldier's Peak, but the place, well, they say it's haunted, and it'll be dangerous for certain. Will you think on it, at least? 1,000 blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
you little... Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look. Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone. It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables. The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again. I don't want it, you worthless fur bag. Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect. Why are we stopping? There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful? You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight. No. Get used to disappointment. People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty. I am. I have always fought in war, human. Some of them. They aren't all alike. Generally, I do not see how this matters. Seheron and Parvolan are distant. What a strange language you speak. You say hurry, where I would say duty. No, it is yours, and you are chatting with me instead. Yes. Sitting, as you observed. It's what you asked. Parshera, was there anything else? Speak, then. Then I suggest we... I am hardly surprised. To answer a question. The Arishok asked what is the Blight. By his curiosity, I am now here. The one who commands the Antam, the body of the Kunari. Why do you? Exactly. You don't ask, nor do I. The Arishok sends me and I go. Yes. Never. I cannot go home. It doesn't matter now. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting. As you...
Yes.
Indeed. Yes?
Thank you. I didn't expect the band's men to notice my escape so quickly. I tried to hide here in the woods, but there wasn't time. And now I'm a dead man. You were there in Ostagar. You know how things went. For me, it was either this, or die in some darkspawn's belly, or be hung as a deserter. You were there with the Grey Wardens, one of Duncan's new recruits. I was to guard the king. He was my friend, understand? Maker. All that time in Ban Loren's prison. And I couldn't stop thinking about all they suffered that one dark night at Ostagar. I know. Even had Logain's men not turned their backs on us, the Darkspawn were too many. Even Cailan, for all his bravado, knew there would be no victory at Ostagar. The king entrusted me with the key to the royal arms chest. If anything were to happen to him, he said, it was vital I deliver it to the Wardens.
The royal arms chest. It's where Cailan kept his father's sword, the one he always said he'd slay the archdemon with.
More than that, there was a secret compartment where he kept documents concerning his dealings with Empress Selene and the Orlesians. The Maker has a sense of humor, doesn't he? I suppose it's for the best, however. Had I kept it, it would be in Ban Loren's hands by now.
Why am I not surprised? Is there someone else we should be bringing back from the brink of death instead?
I was afraid. I thought I would lose it on the battlefield, so I stashed it in the camp. Please, it's probably still there. If anyone can, it's you, Grey Warden. Ostagar's probably crawling with Darkspawn by now, and I'm afraid I would not make the journey. The key's behind a loose stone at the base of a statue. I'll draw a map for you, so you'll know where to search.
You'll be taking me along, won't you? Call me sentimental, but I left behind some dark spawn that really deserve a sword through the middle.
It is vital that the king's documents do not fall into the wrong hands. As for Marik's sword, it is too powerful to be pawed at by those monsters. Same for the king's other arms and armor. And if you happen to find Cailan's body, see it off. He was our king. He shouldn't be left to rot amidst the Darkspawn's filth.
Twisted creatures. Can I get you a ladder so you can get
You've got to hand it to the Darkspawn. They sure know how to make a place feel desolate, foreboding.
Right. As you wish.
Bad day, huh?
Ready.
Here!
Of course.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but it's clearly Caelan's. There can be no doubt.
Darkspawn,
foul
kill them all.
darkspawn.
Got it. Relax, so you can get off my back. Got it.
Defend yourself!
Now's better than later. Someone's gonna fall and it sure won't be me! Now.
I never liked this part.
Show them no mercy!
Stop the bleeding! Now we get our hands dirty. Why does that always happen to me?
I can't do that.
Allow me. I could do that for you. Just like you wanted.
No end to these blasted things.
What?
Finished. Now what do you want?
Judging by these documents, it's a pity we hadn't placed more trust in Orlais and less in the king's own father-in-law.
Blades like that inspire songs that last the ages.
Let us end this!
Trap right ahead.
Warden,
What now?
Darkspawn, slay them all!
Yes.
You will learn to fear me!
Now it's better than later.
Can I get you a ladder? Get off my back!
Violence is a solution. Sometimes.
Nothing like a brush with death to make you not like death much.
Here they come.
That's a corpse. Looks dead, right?
All right, all right. All right.
Finished.
As you like.
Forgive us, my king. Once we flushed the dark spawn from their holes and bought ourselves some time, we'll be back to see you to the Maker. Forgive us, my king. Once we flushed the dark spawn from their holes and bought ourselves some time, we'll be back to see you to the Maker.
Darkspawn, straight ahead. Make a preserve us!
Can I get you a ladder so you can get off my back?
Right ahead.
I'll get on it. Now, you're gonna regret this!
Back! Let's make this quick! Delight! Is that all you got? Another battle? I'm wounded! I can't go on like this!
Got it. I need healing.
Up there, the Tower of shale. Let's do this.
Of course.
You and your friends are formidable. I'm sure. Something you need? I'm...
Yes.
Indeed.
Darkspawn, kill them all. All right, all right. Got it. More blood. Where's the next one?
More foul darkspawn.
All right. You'll get no mercy from me. All right, all right. I'll get on it. On your guard, wretch!
It's done.
Here.
What is it?
Darkspawn. They just crop up everywhere.
Now is better than later.
Let's make this quick! Too easy!
Got it.
Here comes trouble!
All right. That's it.
I think we work well together.
Darkspawn, kill them all.
Begin the onslaught! Up here! Hey!
Done.
An order.
Ugh, down the hole and into the deep. I don't even want to imagine where that leads.
Twisted creatures.
Run while you can!
I am ready for
Come and get it!
on your guard.
Don't look now,
Don't look now.
Even more darkspawn.
I'll get on it.
That went well.
I am afraid for no.
I'll finish. I'll do it.
Now it's better than later. I'll get on it. That'll teach you. Got it.
Your time to die! Here!
Now, better than later.
I never liked this
Think
part.
you can get off my back. All right.
Enough!
Die already!
Wipe them out!
On your guard, wretch!
Come and get it!
Curse it!
You cannot win!
It's a good day to die!
There. That is the last of them. I only pray we can carry them as valiantly as he. Oh, they left him here to rot. We need to do something. He was a good man who hoped too much and died too young. He deserves what little honor we can afford to grant him. Right.
What?
I can't do that.
Are you sure I can't...
What do you need? Ask away.
Yes.
Indeed.
Indeed.
You have fine weapon and arms, dwarven made. There's two things I'm here for. Travel or trade. Understand?
What do you need?
You'll have to forgive me if I seem a bit nervous. Not many people travelling in this part of Ferelden. Of course, that's part of my problem, isn't it? Mule got spooked by a wisp and ran off into the woods. Now what do I do? Oh, no, I sent the elf to do that. I wouldn't dream of asking a stranger to do it. Allow me to introduce myself. Felix de Grosbois, merchant and entrepreneur at your service. A Grey Warden? That's quite impressive, isn't it? My word. I don't normally take this route, but with the war, I was hoping for a bit of luck and good weather in the mountains. Sadly, I've had neither. Ugh, this trip has been one miserable disaster after another. I don't suppose you'd consider helping a fellow out? Of all the other things that went wrong, the worst is this artifact I brought in Jada. It's a control rod, I'm told, for a golem. No point in me keeping it, however, as I'll never get to use it. But, maybe you could? The dwarf I brought it from said it activates and controls a golem. So long as you have it in your hand, the golem does what you say. Might be useful, no? I mean, you look like the sort who could use one, yes? The catch? Yeah, I suppose it is a catch, isn't it? The catch is that the golem didn't come with the rod. It's supposed to be down in a village down south, waiting to be activated. Even if I could get down there, which I can't, I understand the place has been overrun by darkspawn. But you're a Grey Warden, however. Darkspawn aren't an issue for you, are they? The fellow I brought it from is a long-standing contact. He didn't want to come to Ferelden, however, with all our troubles. He said he got it from the man who owned this golem. But to be honest, I have no idea if it will work. Hence the low price. What do you say? Nothing. I just don't want to have to lug around something that might be taken for a gemstone by some bandit. To be honest, I don't even know if it'll be useful to you. I paid too much to simply throw it away. Just as well. As I mentioned before, you'll find the golem down south, in a town called Honleith. I'll mark it here on your map. Just hold up the rod and say Dulaf Gar. That will wake the golem up, so I'm told. I hope it works. Maybe you could look up the fellow who owned the golem before. If he's still about, that is. Best of luck to you then. Now, I guess it's up to me to find that mule myself.
Bet you I could kill him in 2 blows.
Here comes trouble!
Now, better than later.
You should know what you have. Another corpse, pile. Trap right ahead.
All right, all right.
Alright, battle it is then. I never liked this part. Let's end this.
Can I get you a ladder so you can get off my back? Time to kill something.
Ready! Good to go! No, I don't think so.
Got it. I'll get on it. Sorry, am I too quick for you? Can I get you a ladder so you can get off my back?
Yes? It looks like a golem, doesn't it? An actual golem, and not a statue at all. I wonder how it ended up here of all places. What's next? I finished.
More foul. Victorious!
Allow me. I could do that for you. It's done.
No end to these blasted things.
By the Maker, we're saved!
You weren't sent by the ban, were you? To save us? A Grey Warden? Here! Thank the Maker for our luck! But if you weren't sent by someone, why are you here? If you don't mind me asking. A control rod? Do you mean the one for shale? That damnable golem brought us nothing but trouble. My mother sold the rod years ago after it killed my father, and good riddance! My father's name was Wilhelm, mage to the Arls of Redcliffe and a hero in the war against Orlais, and what did he get? One day my mother found him outside the tower, with so many broken bones she could barely recognize him, and shale standing over him just like it is now. My father deserved better than that. But if you really want to wake shale up, well, it's yours now. My mother never talked about it much. I was just a small child when my father died. Look, I know you probably have more important things on your mind, but I really need your help. I know you already saved my life, and I'm grateful, but my daughter is inside the laboratory. She was afraid and ran too far in before I could stop her. I don't know how she made it past my father's defenses. One of the men tried to go after her. He was killed, but you could find her, couldn't you? There are defenses my father put down here to keep strangers out. I knew about the barrier. I had the key for that, but the rest of it, well, we never came down here. Ever. You risked yourself to get here, didn't you? It's just a little further. That shouldn't be difficult for someone like you. I don't, it's true. I'm terrified that something's happened to her and she's lying in there, injured. I can't leave here until I know for certain. Surely you can understand that. You will? My father's laboratory is just past the next area, I think. She has to be there.
I'll get on it. Sorry, am I too quick for you? I'll get on it.
Very well.
Time to kill something. All right.
What now?
What now?
What do you mean you've never climbed a tree? Don't cats like to be in trees? Oh look, someone's come to play. You have come to play, haven't you? We're playing a guessing game. It's better with more people. Father? Oh, you can tell him I'm fine. Maybe he'll come and stay with us, too. Anyway, you should go if you're not going to play. Kitty finds you distracting. Kitty's clever. She says you want to take me back to my father, but I'm not going. She would be lonely.
You are so kind, Amalia. I would miss you dearly if you left.
Of course she's a cat. She just talks, that's all.
Talking is simple enough, once you know how. I am a cat, really. Nothing you say will convince Amalia to go with you. She loves only me now. I am her friend, while you are just a stranger. It seems we are at an impasse, so let me propose a compromise of sorts. Release me, mortal, and let me have the girl. Let us return to her father and leave this place forever. That's such a crude way of putting it. I do not wish to harm Amalia. I merely want to see your world through her eyes. Is that so wrong? Thank you. The Mage's Ward told me that...
Oh, this is so exciting! Kitty is going to be free! I've always wanted a cat, and Kitty is so perfect and pretty. I like it when Kitty sings to me. Father doesn't like cats, but he never met Kitty.
Can I get you a ladder so you can get off my back?
Kitty says Grandpa Wilhelm locked her up in his room. Isn't that awful? Kitty is my best friend.
I am still trapped. What is the matter?
I was thinking about the sun, silly.
Yes. I can feel the magic fading. Oh, I had forgotten how it feels not to be caged.
Kitty? What's happening?
A wonderful thing, my dear, for both of us. Betrayal! You will not take the girl. She is mine!
Kitty! You're scaring me! I won't let you inside me! I won't!
Lifeless bastard. Now, better than later. Can I get you a ladder? Get off the back. Now's better than later.
Let's end this!
You're gonna regret this!
Your time to die!
You did it! You freed her! Thank you so much!
I'm sorry I ran away, Daddy. I was so scared.
It's all right, Butterfly. You're safe now. All the bad creatures are gone. You'll need a phrase to activate Shale. It's Dulan Han. I wouldn't want the thing, but it's obvious you can handle yourself just fine. Now we should go, and quickly. Thank you again. We owe you our lives.
I knew that the day would come when someone would find the control rod. And of course, it is another mage. That is what it is. Yes, yes. Just my luck. It thinks these crystals are simply for show, I see. It thinks I cannot sense the energies it commands. Huh. I stood here in this spot and watched the wretched little villagers scurry around me for, oh, I have no idea how long. Many, many years.
Oh, you poor dear. That would be really, really boring.
And the villagers had no idea they were being watched. Creepy.
Then one wonders that you wouldn't be grateful to the one who allowed you to stretch your legs, Gollum.
Another mage, I see. Charming. I was just beginning to get used to the quiet, too. Tell me, are all the villagers dead? Some got away, then. How unfortunate. Perhaps I may have forgotten after all the years of being called Gollum. Gollum, fetch me that chair. Do be a good Gollum and squash that insipid bandit. And let's not forget, Gollum, pick me up. I tire of walking. It does have the control rod, doesn't it? I am awake, so it must. I see the control rod, yet I feel... Go on, order me to do something. And, nothing. I feel nothing. I feel no compulsion to carry out its command. I suppose this means the rod is broken? I suppose if I can't be commanded, this means I have free will, yes? It is simply, what should I do? I have no memories beyond watching this village for so long. I have no purpose. I find myself at a bit of a loss. What about it? It must have awoken me for some reason, no? What did it intend to do with me? I see. Wonderful. I suppose I have two options, do I not? Go with it or go elsewhere? I do not even know what lies beyond this village. Yes, very likely. I watched this village for so long, unable to move or act. My memories of anything before are vague at best. So I have no idea what I want to do. I'm glad to be mobile. Was that not enough? Did I? I remember that I had a former master. The mage with the furry brows who poked and prodded and barked orders. Did I kill him? I hope I did kill him. Perhaps the last order he barked was, Gollum, stop crushing my head. Ah! Yes, I'm just funny that way. I have no idea. How does it trust anything else without a control rod? Fair enough. Then I promise not to sit on it accidentally or without sufficient provocation. Good enough?
Are you certain you want to bring that thing with us? It could be dangerous and large. Good point. Better it than me, anyhow.
I will follow it about then. For now. I am called Shale, by the way. This should be interesting. Oh, blast it.
It is done.